Hi, I'm Ayanna Thompson, the Executive Director of the Arizona Center for Medieval and Renaissance Studies and one of the founding members of the Race4Race community. Welcome. Why have you gone into your field? What made you want to become an academic instead of a journalist or a banker or a doctor, lawyer, social worker, high school teacher, or anything else? Why do you spend most of your life reading books, teaching students, and writing? It's love. Many of us have been conditioned not to discuss our work in terms of love. I have been on admissions committee where I have participated in mocking students for discussing their love of literature in their personal statements. We're not supposed to care about your feelings. We want to know about your ideas. But our feelings got us into these fields in the first place. I normally do not frame my work in terms of love. In fact, I regularly say that I don't necessarily feel love for Shakespeare. But I've been reflecting on my experiences, especially with bell Hooks's work on love in mind, and I'm ready now to think in new terms. Looking back, I can see that my first blossoming feelings of love for Shakespeare started when I was 8 and I read Macbeth in my closet by flashlight. The witches were so spooky and real to me, but that love was very fleeting. I simply did not have a way to sustain it. The next blooming feeling of love occurred when I saw Romeo and Juliet at the Royal Shakespeare Company when I was 13. Sean Bean, Neve Cusack, and Hugh Quarshie were so sexy, so vivid, so very present in that production that I continued to hang a poster from it in my dorm room when I went to college 5 years later. But once again, that was a passing fling that didn't last. Then I felt a strong jolt of love when I was a senior in college and we read Titus Andronicus. Although my professor dismissed the play as Shakespeare's Juvenilia, I couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing a lot of the issues that mattered the most to me: how to address sexual violence, racism, sexism, and the evils of empire, and how they all were entwined. And that biracial baby wouldn't leave my thoughts. How had that baby made it into a play written in 1592? The baby was a time traveler, for sure. How could I not love him and want to care for him in some strange way as a biracial baby myself? Although I did not go to graduate school to study Shakespeare, that weird love for Titus Andronicus stuck and continues to stick. It stuck so hard that I just finished editing the Arden 4 edition of Titus with Curtis Perry. Shameless plug. It will be available in May 2026. It only took us 10 years. As Bell Hooks explains in beautiful and clear terms in her 2000 book, All About Love, love is a verb. It is something we do, not something that happens to us. Love is an active choice. When we started Race4Race in 2019, we were motivated by resistance and rebellion, and we had some righteous anger. But I see now that we were also motivated by love. Love for fields that had not and have not always recognized our knowledge as rigorous, our teaching as expertise-driven, or our writing as field-defining. We loved even when we were not loved back, because love is an active choice, even in the face of hardships. Sometimes I think about our colleagues who have had it somewhat easier than we have, and I think that they're actually experiencing the passive kind of love. It comes easy to them. It is a noun for them, not an active choice. But we, who created the Race4Race community, loved so hard that we created a new event that would allow us to love our fields in an uninhibited environment. We loved so well that we created a new book series at UPenn, special editions of journals, and panels at various prestigious conferences. We loved so actively that we created the amazing online resource for teaching pre-modern critical race studies through lines. I'm here to say the hardships have not gone away. In many cases, the hardships and headwinds are stronger than ever. They are simply manifesting in different ways now than they were in 2019. But we can, should, and must love actively so that our fields survive. I think about the 8-year-old version of myself. Okay. I think I cry at every Race4Race. Let's get it over with now. I think about the 8-year-old version of myself who could have sustained her love longer if there were Shakespeare summer camps or live performances available. Or the 13-year-old self who could have loved more actively if there were great teachers to model such an active and engaged approach to Shakespeare. And I think about the college senior version of me who simply needed a professor who did not dismiss what was right in front of his eyes. In other words, what we are doing as scholars who are invested in researching and teaching the fulsomeness of the pre-modern past is not only a demonstration of our own love, but also modeling of how to love. As Hooks says, and this is a quote, "Self-acceptance is hard for many of us. There is a voice inside that is constantly judging, first ourselves and then others, because we've learned to believe that negativity is more realistic. It appears more real than any positive voice. Far from being realistic, negative thinking is absolutely disabling." End quote. Love, on the other hand, leads not only to self-acceptance, but also to acceptance of those who differ from ourselves. Race4Race as a symposium and a community is an act of love. It has been sustained and nurtured by a community of amazing people. First and foremost are the executive board members who give a lot of time, energy, thought, and everything into fostering Race4Race. So please thank the board members. And if you're here, please stand. And let's do a round of applause at the end. So the board members are Patricia Akimi, Taryn Andrews, Dennis Britton, Ruben Espinosa, Kim F. Hall, Jonathan Shu, Farah Kareem Cooper, Hassana Musa, Dorothy Kim, Danelle Padilla Peralta, Susie Phillips, Scott Manning Stevens, Carla Maria Thomas, and Cord Whitaker. These people are amazing. Race4Race always looks like a smooth running machine because of the tireless work of the staff at ACMRS. And the work that they put into it is nothing short of an act of love. Can all the staff be brought in, and then I want to name you all? If there's anyone outside, bring them in. So first and foremost, I have to thank my partner in crime, Ruben Espinosa, who, as the new director of ACMRS, has taken over all the hard work and managerial tasks and is a thought partner and everything. So thank you, Ruben, for everything you do. But there are other people, including, and now if you're the staff here, please stand. Todd does not want to be acknowledged. And again, we'll applaud at the end. Jonathan Hope, Laura Turchi, Sarah Moser, Sue Cox, Leah Newsom, Karina Fitzgerald, Todd Halverson, Taylor Flamini, M. McDonough, Tanisa Saul, Carla McNeil Baxter, and our amazing student worker, Paulina Soto. Thank you all. And of course, we have received extraordinary foundational support from the Mellon Foundation, the HITS Foundation, and the Folger Shakespeare Library, who continues to offer student travel grants, so thank them. And our institutional support within ASU has been nothing less than a courageous, active act of love. We owe special thanks to the director of the Humanities Institute, Ron Brolio, whose funding helped bring Nile Rodgers to us tomorrow, the Dean of Humanities, Jeffrey Jerome Cohen, and as always, the president of ASU, Michael Crow. Housekeeping issues. There are bathrooms outside to the left, if you just go outside, and there are cool swag. There are notebooks and bags and disco balls if you haven't already gotten them, but everything's free, so please take what you need. There is a slightly revised schedule insert in your program, so make sure you consult that, although I think it's going to change one more time. Just so that we're nimble. As some of you know, I had a bout with cancer last year, which afforded me the opportunity to think about how I want to spend my time. It was strange, but also amazing to realize that I am doing exactly what I want to do. It's because of the love that I feel for the work, the love I feel for this community, and the love that I feel for our possible future that I'm recommitting myself to doing this work. Thank you all for being here, and welcome to Love. So, I really loved, not because I'm an Eagles fan, but I really loved when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, because the coach was crying profusely, and he didn't apologize. He said, "Hey, I'm a guy who cries." So I'm just going to be like, "Hey, I'm a scholar who cries." All right, we're so, as many of you know, our programs are very robust. We've got everyone's beautiful headshots. We've got model scholars this time, and bios. So we yes, Hamid. I'll hold it up again. Woo, look at that. So we don't actually read people's bios at this conference. Instead, we invite you to read them on your own. And I have the great pleasure of introducing our first speaker, and at her first Race4Race conference, Ty Catherine Matthews, whose talk is Diverse Men, Diversely Deemed, Uncovering Empathy for Other in the Canterbury Tales. Thank you.